to Design Podcast.
And we have again Wesley Dunn for a second episode. He's going to talk to us about customer loyalty retention during these COVID times and also hacks on working remotely. So over to you, Wes.
Thanks very much, Taco. I've really been reflecting a lot the last couple of days that we've been doing these conversations, and it's really and great to see it and how it's resonating with a lot of the customers that I've been speaking to, and a lot of the team members that I've been working with, not only in Australia but globally. Now, if we just talk about customer loyalty and trust during these very uncertain times, there's a lot of different things that we can break that down into. And really what I'm going to talk about is breaking it down into things about what it means for your brand, what it means for you as a customer, what does it mean for your employees or the people that you manage, what does it mean for the teams that you have, because a lot of us work in somewhat geographically separated teams. Some of you may not. You might be working in a particular country. What are some of the marketing or advertising techniques that you can adopt, special offers that you can look at giving your customers during these times, and that we can actually look at how we shift a traditional retail activity to an online organization. So that's a good example of how we can move to prepare around that. So we're now just going to the specific in the heart of it, right? The first point is, and this is going to be broken out to 7 different points, but I'll encapsulate them very quickly. So if you have a look at your brand and allowing your brand to shine is very important. Now you're in a stage where customers and partners have an opportunity that they can demonstrate what the organization is all about, right? What does that mean? Being true to your brand and your purpose, paying attention to how you respond to your customers, how you actually have purpose-based responses, and showing empathy. We've spoken a lot about in the previous episode about empathy, and that empathy is especially important now more than ever. If I have an example there, there's a lot of companies that they've revised their sick leave policy that allow employees to both work full-time and part-time, right? Where you could work flexibly, right? So you'd have an opportunity now to work remotely from home, but a lot of organizations and employees are actually taking hold of where they could work, a 4-day or a 3-day work week, and then the other times they're actually on some sort of leave with their kids, right? And where they might be taking half pay or etc. We've also talked, and you would have seen this, but this is prior to the restrictions around airlines and all that stuff, where airlines have essentially scaled back their operations, is where airline staff actually did a lot of sanitation around in the cabins, where they applied a lot of HEPA filters and to manage a lot of the viral and bacterial efficiency within the aircraft. Those are quite critical when you actually let your brand shine, right? Yes, there's not as much flying that's going on, but that's going to be something that we're going to expect as customers going forward. The next point is around communicating to your customers, right? So being in touch with your customers, and yes, I'm not saying to you go and call the customer every day and chew their ear off in terms of what they're working on and bombarding them with how you can sell product or sell services to them. This is about being human, right? We spoke about this in the previous episode, where you have to have that human angle, right? And you have to show that empathy for your customers, right? They are going through extremely tough times. You as an organization are going through extremely tough times. If you've had to have some tough conversations with some of your employees, or you've had to scale back some of your operations to adapt to COVID-19, remember that now is the time where you forge those relationships with your customers, and you actually build even stronger relationships for bonds that will actually see you and that you can endure for years. The next step is about how you communicate to your employees, right? So what do we mean there is, just as you serve your customers, your employees are the most important aspect of any business, All right, regardless if you're producing a product, you're selling a service, you're a bricks and mortar business, you're running an online business, your people are extremely vital to your organization. Just as Richard Branson said so many times ago, is if you treat your employees right, the rest of the business will come. Right, and that's so true today more than ever. You need to have ways that you actually manage your in-person customer interaction, and make sure that your employees are aware of all the operational processes, that you reduce the transmission of viruses from person to person. And for you that is running a business that is a bricks and mortar business or even an online business, that you actually are sanitizing your employees are sanitizing in public spaces, right? That's key and critical towards that. What we've done with a couple of customers that I'm working with directly with the employer that I'm working with right now, is that we've let them know about how we're working remotely and what steps we've taken in place to keep our team adopting our team that our team has adopted in terms of how they keep safe and working through all their sanitation and their mental health and well-being, because that's critical for them, because ultimately they are an extension of the workforce that they're working with at that particular customer. Fourth point is about how you have new ways of how you work with your customers. Now, yes, we're not going to be traveling as much. You're going to be doing a lot more virtual work. Tucker, you and I have been speaking offline about, and I've been speaking to a lot of industry experts about this as well, where the new normal post a lot of what's going to happen on when everything settles down around COVID-19 is the interesting conversations that are going to happen between employees and employers around why can I not do more work remotely, and why do I need to go into an office, or is it going to be a case of there's going to be a hybrid of the two? I think you're going to probably find it's going to move towards a hybrid of the two, but you're also going to find a lot of individuals that are going to feel that they're more efficient working from home. Now, if your business supports that and if you're able to do that, highly encourage that, because your stress levels are automatically reduced by the fact that you don't have to travel back to and from work, and you don't have to travel anywhere during the day. People need to obviously allow for more breaks throughout, but that's going to be very key to how you allow people as your team that flexibility from working from home. That flexibility also relies on how clients and customers are working flexibly from home as well. I'd also say that we need to team up more now than ever, and this is about how you team with where you put resources that you have in the community to good use. That could be teaming with some of your competitors. That could be looking how you source inventory from a competitor perhaps, and actually that in turn allows you to maintain trust and confidence with your clients. The 6th point is about how you take care of your loyal customers, right? So there, every single customer, if you have those empathetic conversations with them and you build that brand awareness, they are going to remain with you for years, right? When you are able to supply them with valuable resources when in times of where they become scarce, actually your customers will really appreciate you for that, right? And then they will appreciate that you take care of them first, and I think they will repay that back to you, later down the line when if you're having some challenging times. I spoke previously about special offers and discounts. So here you can actually give customers some special offers and how you attract them, and discounts about how you can do that. A lot of organizations in the world are offering free advice and free services, myself included, where we reduce typical services, in our own spare time around how we could work with our customers, etc. But keep in mind that you can only do this if you have the ability to service everyone. So you've got to work out what is the best way to give those special offers and those discounts, but at the same time keep the loyalty of your customers at the end of the day.
So companies that are also doing sales work, they need to continue adding new clients. So in these times, customer retention is obviously important, but also to keep more cash flow going, they need to bring on new clients. Now, what is there any good ways to reach out to like new customers during these times? I mean, right now everybody has like LinkedIn and other online tools that they can reach out to customers, but they tend to get quite generic. And is there more of a personal touch? Is there any way that you can start engaging with a new customer during these times?
I would say is what works well, and what I've seen many organizations do is where they run a campaign of a particular type of product or service that they want to get out there, and it could just be as simple as running an ad campaign on social media, or it could be something that they target particular customers that they already have in their customer base, and then where you have a customer that would refer a friend sort of thing. And you're able to target to them, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to keep it generic, right? So that's a key point there. Keeping it generic is not going to really get you the value add that you want from a customer point perspective. So following the traditional routes around advertising, media, print, and all that stuff, that's great. But I mean, whether you can afford that or not is obviously going to help you determine what is the best route course of action that you're going to take. What I would do is I'd put together a structured campaign around that. There could be an email campaign that you boost out, and you tailor that for the particular type of customer that you're trying to attract. Follow that up with a phone call, not a video call, but a phone call of where you can actually speak to that customer, provided you've got their contact information. And some of it may actually land up being cold calling, where you can actually learn a little bit more about them, and teeing up those conversations of when the restrictions, and a lot of countries are starting to reduce those restrictions around COVID-19, where you can actually go and meet them in person when we get through a lot of this in the next month or two.
Yeah, a lot of the customer base in Asia generally wants face to face, and during these times it's impossible. So it makes it very difficult for the project to progress. And is there any ideas that you can think of that help these people trying to achieve progress in these times without doing this face to face?
Other than calling individuals or setting up virtual meetings where they can actually have webinars like similar to what we're doing today, and you can boost that out. You need to encapsulate the time span for a lot of those clients. What I think works well is if you have a short video. It could be a video that's between 3 and 5 minutes of where you encapsulate your key messages. Because if you study people's attention span, they're probably going to only give attention to probably the first 3 minutes of something, and then if they're bored, they'll move on. Where you'd include that video in that, and there's some creative ways that you can actually embed things. You could publish it on YouTube or or Dropbox, and then you boost out your email or SMS distribution list, where people can actually go and access that in their own personal time. Something else people could also do is, depending on if they're trying to do some market research, is actually do some mini surveys around and target specific clients or customers where they would, how is their experience been with a particular competitor? You don't have to mention that competitor, but how has the experience been with their current implementation or service offering that they're receiving from some of your competitors, and what is the value proposition that you could contribute? And that could then lead to a different conversation, right? And then where you're able to have a face-to-face dialogue, you've actually teed up a lot of that ahead of time.
So right now, it feels like everybody's a little bit exhausted of all these Zoom calls and Skype calls and WhatsApp messaging. Are there any better ways that we can communicate, or better ways to continue doing this remote working without all this technology exhaustion?
That's an interesting question, and an interesting topic that you've asked there, Tucker. I personally, I've been doing this for the last 19 years, right? And I was actually just saying to a close friend of mine earlier today that I feel like I'm also over the whole Zoom calls, and I use a myriad of different technologies, right? So in the organization that I work, I use everything from Zoom to Microsoft Teams to Skype to and there's other collaboration tools out there. But I think a lot of people are missing the face-to-face interaction. Now we will get there in terms of when we get there for the face-to-face interaction, and as countries are reducing their lockdown strategies, this is going to become more and more easier. But what I would do is around how we, some of the top tips for working remotely. I've spoken about some of these things before, but I'll just re-encapsulate them for you. Is have a designated workspace that you work from every day. So that's an office, right? That could be an office in your home, or that could be a bedroom in your home. A lot of people, understandably, are living in areas where they may not necessarily have a designated space because they might be house sharing, or they've got older parents and they've got kids, etc. like that. You've got to find out what works well for you. The reason for that is whilst you're working remotely, you like we're having a dialogue today using technology. We want to have the ability to have meaningful conversations with each other, but you've also got to respect that kids may come into those conversations. If you've got young kids, the kids are quite inquisitive. They want to be part of those conversations. Bring them as part of the conversation. Have your kid on your lap. Just yesterday, I was having a conference call with a team of mine around some of the things that I've asked them to go ahead and work on a few qualifications for our customers. And I had my 17-month-old son sitting in my lap, but yes, I had him playing with a remote control, to keep him occupied. But he was part of that conversation. We can't actually neglect the human element around working from home. I did speak about having a daily routine, and what I mean by having a daily routine is that yes, you might need to walk to the post box. You might go for a walk and have breaking up your screen time to have enough breaks and all that stuff. I find it works well for me is having a clearly designated office space from my workspace. So I'm very lucky in the townhouse that I live in. I've got an office downstairs, and then we've got a kitchen lounge area, which is where I kind of would break away or switch off from work. Now that's not always possible. Sometimes my wife and I are sharing the office, and that then becomes my office, right? So you've got to find out what works well for you. Communicating openly and frequently with your team, and making sure that you're contactable, right? I cannot emphasize this more, right? We are becoming, and we are already, a mobile workforce, right? You can take Zoom calls, you can take Google Meet calls, you can take Skype calls, doesn't matter what technology is, from anywhere in the world. I could have joined this call with you today whilst driving my car. That's probably a very bad idea to be driving the car while taking a call like this, but won't actually be able to look at to see the expression on my face when I'm talking to you. But technology has become so advanced that you can actually be in any space that you can take it. And if you're not able to be contactable for a certain period of time, put your out of office on to say that you're not available, contactable during these times. But at least people will know that if they're trying to reach you, that they can reach you within certain times.
Do you have any daily routines that you can think of? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I usually wake up and then, I do meditation, but, maybe that's a little bit extreme.
I'm like you. I like to practice my mindfulness, right? So meditation. I probably do about 15, 20-minute meditation every morning, and I also like to, at the end of the day, do something what I call journaling. So actually practicing gratefulness. So what I write in my journal every day is what I'm thankful for, what's worked well throughout the day, and what hasn't worked well, and how am I going to improve the next day. This is very extreme for some of our listeners today and viewers today, is that treat every day like it's the last day, right? So what can you do differently, and what's the difference that you've made today, and how can you improve on that tomorrow? Assuming that we've afforded the opportunity of working tomorrow. I find that getting enough rest and sleep is critical for me. Like many, I've got a young toddler. Sometimes that's not always possible. So living on 6 hours sleep and sometimes 4 hours sleep is a little bit difficult. But making sure that you have those you do get enough rest, and that equally moves is equal for eating healthy and eating good food, and making sure that you actually take a social media and news detox, right? So if you can avoid all the news and avoid social media, because it does become super overwhelming. I hope that helps you.
I wake up in the morning a little bit earlier than usual so that I can get a lot of work done before the kids start invading my private space. So maybe that's another thing that we can all try to
Exactly. I
practice
mean, if you
every
do,
day.
if you have something some of your viewers will know about Robin Sharma. He wrote a book several books, but one of them was called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and Leading Without a Title. And he was one thing that he was very conscious about was, having something where you could wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and this was pre-COVID-19, right? Is where you could wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and they called it the 5 a.m. club. And you can do a lot of your work, and actually you'll get ahead of the curve in terms of what you've got planned out for the day. Yes, you may not necessarily need to work a 7.5 or 8 hour day, right? But it's about how you create those efficiencies for yourself. So I find that works incredibly well for me. Now that's a little bit difficult to manage when you've got young kids, and everyone's circumstances are different. But I encourage everybody to give it a good go. I also find that in my daily routine, and this is just something I've been doing with my health regime, and it might not be relevant for a lot of the guys in Southeast Asia, given it's a really warm climate. But here in Australia, having cold showers is really something that helps rejuvenate the mind and body. And I find that where I practice meditation with a lot of the Wim Hof method actually helps set my mind in terms of what I want to accomplish for the day.
In stressful times like these, your life a bit more. But I think having a pretty good routine would set you up for a good day, and also be able to balance your kids and then your work with your partner as well.
The only thing I would add there, Taka, is just making sure that you are, as an employee or an employer, this will be applicable whether you're a customer or not. Make sure that you're reviewing your performance with your team and checking in on them regularly. I know we've spoken about trying to ditch the technology. That's sometimes very difficult to do, but just make sure that you're always constantly checking in with how people are going, how they're tracking towards their goals, etc. At the end of the day, we're trying to become the best version of ourselves. Yes, we've had a pandemic that's forced us to go into this situation. We can't lose track of how we're going to be progressing in our careers, or how we're going to be shaping ourselves. And you know what, we'll come out of this stronger tenfold.
Churchill said, crisis is an opportunity, right? So it's a way to better our lives potentially. So hopefully we can all come out of this not just stronger, but wiser as well.
Yeah.
In the next episode, we're going to hear from Eric Severis, who's working for an events management company and runs the largest and successful blockchain conference in Japan. Now, they have pivoted to virtual conferencing, and he's going to tell us how to do it. So stay tuned for the next episode. Hi, this is your host Takatoshi Shibayama. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Now, if you enjoyed or disliked the show, please let me know by writing in the comment section. The only way I can improve or add value to you is through your voices. If there are any topics that you would like me to pick up, please also let me know in the comments. I'd love to start chatting with you all. And if you would like to continue watching the show, please subscribe. Thank you.